to mamby-pamby land where maybe we can find some self-confidence for you, you jackwagon!
Coming to you live from his padded cell high atop Bethel Church, the most heralded, the most despised talk show in all of human history. This is the talk show hell hates. This is Pastor Mike Online.
And here we are coming to you live from our top secret broadcasting bunker here at Area 52, right at 1233 American Legion Drive, Festus, Missouri. But that is above top secret. We can't let people know where we are. And you know what? I'm aggravated again. I've got a different webcam up there, right here, and it's a USB webcam. I've got it in a different USB port, but it still looks like that it's got that drag in it. No, I don't mean it's wearing women's clothes. It's got that, it'll stop. Maybe it's when I get excited. Maybe that's what it does. I don't know. Anyway, good to be with you today. The last day of 2024. Did you ever think Well, we did. We made it. I just visited with my wife a few minutes ago, and it will be, see, it stopped. I don't know what to do anymore. Hey, I know what I could do. I've got a used computer for sale. Used computer, okay? I may have to, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I've got to fix it. You got to start out a new year. You got to start it out right and fix this stuff. So anyway, but anyway, they're about an hour away from midnight there in Kenya, and you pray for them as they travel and get a little R&R, especially for my wife. She needs this with the passing of her father in September, Labor Day actually is what it was, and with the passing of her father and all the things that go with that, if you've lost a loved one, a very dear loved one, and Brother Sterling was a very, very dear man. If you lose somebody like that, it's hard to get over. And she's been carrying a lot of burdens, just her own personal ones. She is, all of us are trying to do what we can for Sister Gloria, and try to take care of things that need to be taken care of. Sterling was a good man as far as anything that needed to be fixed or done or anything like that. He was on it. And when people talk about the American dream, that the liberals of this country think that just because you show up to America, or just because you live in America, you have an absolute right to be given like this beautiful mansion house and brand new SUVs in the garage and all of this stuff. That they think that everybody deserves that and should just get it. And what they're doing is they're playing a communist game. That's how Lenin, not John Lennon, the other Lenin, Vladimir, that's how he sold the revolution to the Russians. You should be living the Russian dream. You should have a nice house. You should have plenty of food. You deserve this. And basically didn't really tell them that once they put the government in, that the government is just going to go in and steal all the farms, all the factories, everything. The government keeps all the money, gives a little bit out to everybody, and says, here's your communist dream. And so they talk about the American dream the same way. That if you come through Mexico and you want in America, you should just be allowed to come right in. We're gonna give you this. We're gonna give you that. We're gonna give you all kinds of money, free health care, free food, a free place to live, all of this stuff. That's the American dream. And it's not. The American dream, I gotta change my, there. The American dream is what my father-in-law lived. He grew up poor on an old dirt farm down in Doniphan, Missouri. Lived on that farm, basically was left there while his parents went to St. Louis to find work. He was running this farm, 13, 14 years old. Didn't have but an 8th grade education. And couldn't read very well, even at that. But he finally moved up to St. Louis with the family, taught himself how to weld, taught himself how to build. The guys had a mind that was just, if he would have had a good education and a college degree, as like an engineer or something like that, I mean, he could have done it, because if he needed a tool to do something and there wasn't a tool to do it, he'd invent one. And I've got a big shed full of tools that he's made to do certain things. But he went to work. He worked hard. He didn't blow his money. He saved his money, was responsible with his bills, did what he could. He had all of this against him, and yet he succeeded and became the revered man that he was in our family, in our church. Other preachers that would come here, they knew Brother Sterling. They knew what kind of man he was, very well respected. And that, to me, is the American dream. That if you apply yourself and do for yourself, you can live a better life than you could, let's say, if you were in Cuba or Venezuela or China. Any kind of communist, socialist government that steals from its own people, you can't do well there. You can't gain anything there. There's no dream there. So anyway, that's enough of that. But anyway, she is just kind of down there. It's nice and warm, and they're enjoying it. I had to tell her that when she comes back next week, the high temperature, I think, is supposed to be like 20 Fahrenheit. Yeah. So anyway, she says, bring my coat to the airport. So I'm going to. All right. Now, before the program, I was playing that Watchman video broadcast, and I was getting into this idea of chariots, and I want to continue on that. This will probably be the last thing that I do on the drone situation that's going on. It is fading a little bit. There's not as much talk now as there has been, and I sort of guessed that's how it was going to be, but I wasn't sure. So other than if one of them lands right on the lawn of the White House, and we know that President Biden would never know it. He would think that was Air Force One out to pick him up. But anyway, other than that, I will go on to a different topic. But I came across some very, very interesting videos that I'm going to be showing you here in a moment. I've got one that's not drone related, but I'll tell you, this thing is pretty convincing. This is what I believe to be the satyr that's mentioned in the Bible. This is a Sasquatch video, and I want you to look. I'm going to hit, I've already done that. I'm going to hit play on this, and I want you to look. Hit play, Mike. There we go. I want you to take a look at this thing. That's his beard there. You're fixing to see his face here before too long. All right, that's same video, same view, zoomed out, and I think it's probably been slowed down a little bit. The person, whoever filmed this, zooming in, notice he's got gray on his beard. And in just a few seconds, you're going to see here we go. There's his face right there. Let me pause this. Right there is his nose. Here's his mouth, the two eyes. Here's his beard. This is his head. And I want you to look, as you look at all this, at his shoulders. Oh my goodness. Take a look. Now, number one, if that's a mask and a setup there, a get up, if that's a costume, that's got to be somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 or more to make something like that, to make it convincing. I mean, you can see the outline of his nose here. Okay? Let me keep playing it. And like I say, if somebody just wanted to shoot a 30-second video and try to make you think this is a Sasquatch, and they went out to the Sasquatch store and laid out $90,000, $100,000 for a costume to convince people that this is a Sasquatch, nah, I'm not buying it. This to me is a real thing. It is a real object. It is, and when I say real, I'm saying the video portrays the image of what has been called various things around the world, the Almas in the Eastern Asian nations, wild man of the woods, the boogeyman, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, the Yowies, devils, forest devils, and that also fits in with Scripture, because there is at least one place in the Scriptures where the Hebrew word sa'ir is used, and it's translated as devils. And I don't think that's a mistranslation. I think that's dead on. These are natural, brute beasts. Think about that. There's another zoom in of his head. I think the video is just kind of replaying and playing. But I just wanted you to get a look at this. Pretty convincing image of a very tall, very large, very hairy, scary creature in the forest. I think this was taken in East Texas. Look at that. Look at that. That's an even better image of the face, I think. The mouth, the nose, the two eyes. Somewhere around East Texas, which is you're at the edge of the Ozarks. When you're in East Texas, you're in the area of southwestern Arkansas, and southwestern Arkansas is very, very heavily forested, and not a lot of people lives in that area. So anyway, it is what I would say a suitable place for a creature like this to live and not have too many people notice them or see them. They live in very deep, deep forested areas. That's their habitat. That's what they like. And that's based upon the various stories, the various videos and things like that people have seen over the years. And that goes right along with what I believe the Bible is telling us. If I'm right on this, let me pull the scriptures up here. See what our beloved King James Bible says. Isaiah 13, wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs, satyrs, however you want to pronounce it, shall dance there. Wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. So we're talking about a place where no man lives. You will find the satyrs or the satyrs there in Isaiah 34. Same thing. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. Yowies. The various recordings that people have of what they believe is a Sasquatch crying out. It's very distinguishable from any other kind of sound that you've ever heard. And the recordings that I've heard, now I'll probably do this at some point. The recordings I've heard are all very similar. So anyway, rather than a satyr being a half man from like this belly up, and the other half an animal of some kind, a horse or a goat, or any other kind of four-footed creature, rather than it being that way, why couldn't it be a DNA combination of both man and beast together. We know it's possible. We now know that it's possible scientifically with CRISPR to mix human DNA with any other kind of DNA. Revelation, where was I? Oh, yeah, Revelation 13. Notice this. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. Which is it? A beast or a man? The answer is yes. All of the above. Mix the two together, and you have a hybrid, which, let's go back to Genesis 6, find out how that happens. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children unto them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And what you have here is two different species. Sons of God and daughters of men. And there is, as far as I'm concerned, no more argument about who the sons of God are. There is no, zero, zilch, nada, the big goose egg. There is yet place in Scripture where the sons of God are a reference to human beings of any kind. So they came up with this. This is the sons of Seth. Yes, because all the sons of Seth were godly. The Bible doesn't even say that. The Bible says, I know where they get it from. They made it up out of Genesis 4. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, called his name Seth. For God, said she, hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. Now that does not say that all of the seed of Seth were godly, righteous people. It just says that they became, there were other children of Adam and Eve after Seth was born. Other ones. That is, let's see here. Genesis 10. We have, let's see here. No, that's after Noah. That's not where I want to go. We have Cain. He lived. Abel died. So Cain took a wife, his sister, obviously. Okay. And went off and bare children. Yeah, here they are right here in Genesis 4 and so on. But then we have, I know where I was thinking of, Genesis 5. In the days of Adam, after he begot Seth, were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters. So, I mean, there you are. All of those sons and daughters, surely they're calling upon the name of the Lord, but I doubt that all of them are. But you just have no reference at all of the sons of God speaking of this generation of Seth. It's not there. So it's made up because they don't want to believe that angels mated with human women. But that's what happened. All the references of the sons of God in the Old Testament are referencing angels. Every single one of them. Even in Psalm 82, Jesus quoted this verse, and he says, I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Children of the Most High? Well, that's a son of God, isn't it? So, a God, little g, is a son of God, big G. It just makes sense to me. Now, this is going to play into why the drones are here. And I got to quit calling them drones, because that's what they are not. They're not human drones. Not man-originated mechanical drones. Now, there are some of those that have been flying, yes. But take a look at this. Video tres nettes d'ovni filmé in France. How's my French doing? Okay. This one's like shooting stuff out of it. Like look at that. Like Star Wars or Star Trek or something. Can't tell me that Boeing or some other Pentagon contractor made that. Can't tell me that. That is something besides the drones, whether they're military, whether they are law enforcement. Wouldn't surprise me if the IRS has an army of drones. If you won't pay their taxes, by cracky, they're going to send a drone out to grab your wallet while you're walking out to your car in the morning. Anyway, look at that. All right, here's another one. Look at that. This was done in China. Look at that. What is that? Well, we don't know. We don't see any wings on it. We don't see any condensation trail. We don't see a propeller or some kind of engine that takes stuff in and blows it back out in a different form. We don't see that there. How is it that it's floating up in the sky? How is it that most of the people, when they report these things, typical UFO report, things don't make a sound. Drones make a sound. The propeller drones make a sound. But not things like that. How about this one? The WTF here is, what's that for? I don't know what this lady's saying. I don't usually put audio with these videos because they say, "What's that for?" What is this? What interests me is that this looks like something from the sea. And I have this idea that space, outer space, is like an ocean. The Bible, the book of Psalms especially, talks about dark waters. And it's where the dark waters are what separates us from the realm that God lives in. Scientists know that there is something called dark matter. They call it that because they know it exists, but nothing, no instrument of any kind can detect it. Hence the phrase dark matter. They know it's there because of what it does. Let me hit play on this again while I talk about this. They know it's there because of what it does. It's like when you go outside, you can't see the air, but you can feel it, and you can see the air's movement by looking at trees, leaves, flowers, grass, kites, things like that. Okay? So, I think that dark matter and dark energy are the dark waters that the Bible talks about that separates us from the realm of God. Look into that. Do some study on your own. All right. All right. Here's another one. This is done through a telescope. A pretty good telescope, I'd say. You see lights in here. That sort of reminds me of the UFO picture that a pastor sent to me from a member of his church driving through Colorado. And the mom takes a picture of the Rocky Mountains, and with her daughter's phone, her daughter looks at it and says, "Mom, you took a picture of a spaceship." And they looked at it and they could see the windows in it. Weird. This would be what some have talked about, plasma. Plasma is the fourth state of matter. Now, follow me on this for a second. We live in this three-dimensional world. Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, time, God created the heaven, space, and the earth, matter. That's the three things that make up our universe: time, space, and mass or matter. So, time and space and matter also come in three forms. Time is past, present, or future. Space is length, width, and depth, 3 dimensions. Matter is solid, liquid, gas. So what would it be if we added a fourth state to each one of those? Time, past, present, future. The fourth state would be eternity. Eternity past, eternity present, eternity future. But the fourth state of time would be eternity. Space. 3 dimensions, yet the Apostle Paul mentions height being the 4th dimension. Matter, solid, liquid, gas, plasma. Plasma is a state of matter that is beyond solid, liquid, or gas. Okay? Plasma is what stars are made of. Now, with that in mind, let's look in our Bible. Day 4, and it's the 4th state. Day 4, God creates the stars also. Now, we know from 1 Corinthians 15 that stars vary in how bright they are. God calls it, well, the Bible calls it glory. There is one glory of the sun, another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars, for one star differeth from another star in glory. So, we know also that, go to the Revelations, we know that the stars of heaven are cast down to the earth. How is that possible? If we're talking about Alpha Centauri or Betelgeuse, which is a star, or any other named star in the universe, we know that those are huge, or we believe those are huge. So how can they fall to the earth? The Bible says after that the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. We also know in Revelation 9 that when the 5th angel sounds his trumpet, a star falls from heaven unto the earth, and to that star was given the key of the bottomless pit. This star is a personality. It has personhood, we'll call it. It is an individual thinking entity. It's not just a ball of plasma falling to the earth. It has life given to it, because once the key to the bottomless pit is given to that star, when it falls, that star then will use the key to unlock the bottomless pit. Okay? So we know that they are angels. And they come in different glories and different sizes. Think about that. Okay? Not every UFO looks like every other UFO. There are differences. Imagine, going back to this sea concept, imagine, if you would, the number of different sea creatures that we know of right now. And we're told that there are scores of thousands of species of aquatic life that live in the ocean that we have no idea what they look like. But all of them, they don't all look like bass, crappie, and catfish. Amen? Let's see, I need a yeah for that. That's for our bass and crappie fishermen. Catfish guys. I like to crappie fish and I like to catfish. Not a bass guy. That just ain't me. All right, let's move along here. Here we go. This is actually, I figured this one out. The cube shape of this one tells us that it's a box from Amazon. That's pretty good, wasn't it? Amazon's figured out how to get the packages to your door without using a drone or a driver. No, that one's just a cube. Look at that. A flying box going through the air. Well, that's not so. This is like an infrared, maybe. I don't know exactly who took this video, but they didn't do a bad job. This apparently has been seen from an aircraft of some kind, whether commercial aircraft or military. But a flying box doesn't seem so totally wrong. We have, what am I doing here? In Zechariah, we have a flying roll, like a scroll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, the breadth thereof 10 cubits. This is the curse. Listen to this. Some of these, you know what? I do. Some of these UFOs, this one has a cylinder shape to it. There are many others, countless others that people have seen. They've described them as long, thin cylinders, like a flying roll, like that. Okay? Anyway, back to the scriptures. He said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For every one that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and every one that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. And I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts. God is in charge of this. Whatever this is, people, remember, God is in charge. Always. Always in charge. It shall be cut off as on that side according to it. I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name. How many churches? How many churches? Get rid of that buzz. How many people swear falsely by God's name? Now, I'm not just talking about those who use God's name in vain, those who curse with Jesus in it. Although I've never heard someone curse using the Holy Ghost. But they use God in their cursing. They use Jesus in their cursing. I think that's wrong. I think that's part of it. But also those who take on the name of Jesus and say, look, I am a Christian. This is what I do. Jimmy Carter just passed away. 100 years old. Okay? Was a Southern Baptist Sunday school teacher for years after he got out of politics. But he was liberal. There's whole parts of the Bible that he didn't believe, or he didn't believe it the way it was written. And that tells you something right there. But anyway, it shall remain in the midst of this house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. This Bible is interesting. Let's see here. That's Bigfoot. That's the cube. What is this one? Oh, yeah. Take a look at this one. What shape is that? What shape is that? Have no idea. Now, yes, some people that are saying, that's just, space junk. Yeah, that's something fell off the space shuttle. And it's just, rotating around the Earth. 54%, I guess they did a survey. But I think I can't picture anything right offhand that would give off light like that. Some are saying that it's reflected light from the sun. But then how come it reflects all over it at the same time, not just on one side facing the sun? That doesn't make sense to me. This right here reminds me of the description of Satan given in Ezekiel 28, where it said, every precious stone was thy covering. And it lists 10 different precious stones. Let's pull that up. Let's get biblical. Ezekiel 28. Let me hear the Bible talk. Right here. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering. The sardius, the topaz, and the diamond. Look at that. Now let's go back here. There. The diamond. Either I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, boy, am I crazy. No kidding. Or this Bible is right and has the answer for everything. This one of you can see the word humanoid there, can't you? Some kind of flying humanoid in California. Now, I know people get high in California. I just don't think they get that high. All right, I got one more here. Oh, yes. Get ready for this. I'm going to hit the button already. You tell me what that is. You tell me what that is. That is fiery, flying serpent. And I want you to notice the different colors coming out of it. Look at that. Now, in Aboriginal mythology, let me see here. Where would that be? No, not there. Not there. Where? What about this? No. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here we go. Let me see if I can fit these both on the same screen here. No. Anyway. The rainbow serpent in Aboriginal religion, mythology, is the creator deity. All the Aboriginal Australian peoples worship the rainbow serpent. Here's sort of a picture here. It's like the arch of the sky. And they visualize that, especially in the Milky Way, as their rainbow serpent. Here's another, I guess, drawing of it. What is this? I don't know. Anyway, that's the rainbow serpent. And what it says is the rainbow serpent is, in the first instance, the rainbow itself. It is said to inhabit particular water holes, springs, etc., because such bodies of water can exhibit spectral colors by diffracting light, according to one explanation. Likewise, the rainbow quartz crystal and certain seashells are also associated with the rainbow serpent. You know, you've seen the inside of seashells. They have rainbow colors and are used in rituals involving the rainbow serpent. The underlying reasons are likewise explainable. See if I can. Where was I? The underlying reasons are likewise explainable, since quartz acts as a prism to diffract light into different colors, while the mother of pearl exhibits an iridescence of colors. Take a look at this. The dreaming, or the dream time, which is sort of like eternity. I want that buzz to go away. Man, I just need somebody to come over here and redo this whole thing. Stories tell the great spirits and totems during creation in animal and human form that molded the barren and featureless earth. The rainbow serpent came from beneath the ground and created huge ridges, mountains, and gorges as it pushed upward. The rainbow serpent is understood to be of immense proportions and inhabits deep, permanent water holes, and is in control of life's most precious resource, water. In some cultures, the rainbow serpent is considered to be the ultimate creator of everything in the universe. Isaiah 14, I will be like the Most High. That's where that comes from. Now look at this. This is where it gets interesting. In some cultures, the rainbow serpent is male, in others female, and yet others, the gender is ambiguous, or the rainbow serpent is hermaphroditic. Which means it is they, them, or them. What are your pronouns? The spirit of Antichrist, like the spirits that came up in Revelation 9, where they have the face of man and the hair of woman, that spirit of Antichrist is why we have this explosion in this country of omnigenderism, bigenderism, trigenderism, quadrigender, whatever. It's why we have more than just male and female. It's why people think that they can have the physical features of a man and have a Y chromosome, but put themselves off as a woman. They may dress like a woman. They may be having surgery. They may be taking hormones or whatever. But that's the spirit of why it's happening on such a grand scale. I was talking with some people Sunday, and I remembered when I was in high school, 1982, 83, somewhere around in there, homosexuality was before that considered by whatever, I guess the American Medical Association or the American Psychiatric Association or something like that, but the psychiatrists of America prior to the 80s classified homosexuality as a psychiatric disorder, psychological disorder. That there was something wrong with the way that they thought, and they figured that psychiatry or psychology could fix that problem. But I took a course in high school, my junior year, in psychology, and one of the social studies teachers there at Festus Senior High School, her first name was Denise, that's all I'll tell you. But anyway, she was Miss Denise so-and-so, and we knew she wasn't married, and I thought it was just because she was ugly. I'm a teenager, okay? And she was ugly, okay? But anyway, she's teaching the psychology course. And we're getting to a point now in their textbook where we're going to deal with homosexuality. Well, I showed it to my mom. My mom called Preacher Goff here, who was the pastor. He called the high school and said, I don't think you should teach that there. And I don't know what all was said. Next thing I know, I'm getting called in the principal's office. Yeah. And I didn't really do anything. But I get called in the principal's office, and he's trying to reason with me. He's saying, you know, Mike, at our church, we don't really consider this a big problem. And what I want to say is, well, something's wrong with your church. I didn't say it. I thought it. And I still think it. I don't know what church he went to. But that's what I thought. Here I am, 16, 17 years old, and I've got a little bit more biblical sense than my principal does on what's wrong. And so, again, I don't know what all was said between my pastor and my principal, but I can tell you that my psychology teacher was totally very, very, very angry at me. And so it turns out during the course, again, I didn't think for a second of her being a lesbian, but she was. And so we get to a place in the courseware, we have to write a term paper on somebody famous in history who had a psychiatric or psychological disorder. Guess who I thought of? Nebuchadnezzar. He went crazy for 7 years, right? So I write it, I can type, I'm taking typing class, and I type up this term paper on Nebuchadnezzar. And she didn't like that. She wrote a comment on there, and I don't remember what score I got, but I passed. She wrote a comment on there saying, well, this doesn't really qualify as somebody in history. And she kind of like chewed me out on it. Whatever. Anyway, the androgynous entity, the rainbow serpent, I'm going to put that video back up on the screen. Because to me, that is very, very telling of what this issue really is all about. Let me get it. Push the right buttons. Hoggard. And here we go. There. That's your rainbow serpent. That is Numbers chapter, what is it? Numbers 21. The fiery flying serpents that bit the Israelites in the wilderness. They were not ordinary snakes. I don't care what scholar says what. They were angelic. They were of the angelic realm. They appear as serpents. This is the second time I've seen one. The first time I've showed you Dr. Greer's little CE5 group getting together and calling down UFOs, and this fiery flying serpent goes into this person, gives them a Kundalini experience, opens up their pineal gland, so now they're awakened. And so now, to me, this makes sense. If this is part of the whole drone thing, which it is, this is an ovni, they call it in Mexico, a UFO, a UAP, a bogey, a Foo Fighter, or whatever. That's what we're dealing with right here. Now, meanwhile, back at the ranch, let's remind ourselves. Let me change the settings here. Let's remind ourselves of right here. Living chariots. Living ones. The chariots of God. And I'm not trying to take anything away from the Bible, but I want you to read this part and this part. The chariots of God are angels. Okay? They are 20,000 and even more of thousands of angels. And the Lord is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place. So, when Solomon built the pedestal, as it were, the table for the Ark of the Covenant in his temple, he put 4 wheels, and there was 4 parts to them. Axle trees, naves, felloes, and spokes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? Because the Holy Ghost is telling Solomon, showing him in his mind and his heart what to do. Solomon is designing it. He tells everybody, this is exactly how I want it. And again, Solomon lived before Ezekiel. So Solomon wasn't following Ezekiel's prophecy. Ezekiel was way after Solomon was dead and gone. But he's following what the Holy Ghost knows that the chariot of God is, or what the Ark of the Covenant is supposed to sit on. In life, it was carried by 4 Levite priests. Those represent the 4 living creatures that fly the throne of God, the chariot of God, this way and that way. And they have wheels within wheels. And there's 4 of them. And the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. So, these are living chariots. And I've seen commercials now that we're there. We're there. I think it was Ford. Somebody is already making vehicles that have a system in place where you can let go of the steering wheel, let go of the gas pedal, take your foot off the brake, and let the car drive. We're there now. It's what my insurance agent told me years ago, back 2017, something like that. He said, when we get cars that are fully automatic and drive themselves, who's paying for the accident? Because there's going to be one. So, and look at here. It says a vision of the future. The Smart EQ42 is our most advanced vehicle yet, but it's just the tip of the electric iceberg. Case by Mercedes-Benz promises to push the boundaries of connected, autonomous, shared, and services and electric mobility, as evidenced by the Smart Vision EQ42, a fully autonomous concept vehicle that shows just how far we're willing to go. We're there. And so now, and I want you to put these two things together. If let's say back in 1955, because my dad, he had a 1955 Chevy Bel Air. Yes. That was an awesome car. I didn't like the fact that he sold it. Yeah. But anyway, if in 1955 Chevrolet would have come out and said, this is the car of the future. It is fully autonomous. It has no steering wheel, no brakes, no gas pedal. You just simply put in the coordinates of where you want to go, and it will take you automatically there. People are like, I don't trust that. I don't know what in the world. Because there was no computers back then, or there was, but it was in a lab somewhere at MIT. But now we have been brought to the place now, leading up to this time, they had assisted driving or driving assistance, where the car detected the lines on the road, and it detected if you got over a little bit, it would nudge the steering wheel for you, vibrate it, to get you back over where you belong. Irritating to me, but anyway. But it was getting everybody used to it. Now, more and more and more cars are going to come out, and people are now adjusted to it. The whole UAP drone thing was exactly that. This is getting people used to the idea that there are things up there in the sky that right now nobody knows what they are. but everybody now is aware of their existence. The number of people who totally, absolutely deny any kind of beyond natural reason for seeing these UFOs and these chariots up in the sky. For those who say absolutely no, there's no such thing, I guarantee you a bunch of them have seen them now. They may not want to talk about it, but that's in their mind now. And they're asking questions in their mind that they don't have an answer to. But we have the answer. We know what this is about because this is what our Bible is telling us. Zechariah, these are the four spirits of the heavens which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth. What are they? Well, they were chariots. The red horse chariot, the black horse chariot, the white horse chariot, and then the grizzled and bay horse chariot. All of these chariots are, these are the four spirits of the heavens, which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth. So that's the Bible telling us this. And in 2 Kings, the story where Elijah and Elisha are parted from one another. They're parted by a chariot of fire and horses of fire. And Elijah gets on the horse, and there is a whirlwind that propels that chariot up into the heavens, and it just goes up and disappears. That's what I think happened here. I don't think Elijah got into a whirlwind. I think he got into the chariot, and the whirlwind is the power mechanism of this thing. Some sort of, I don't know, energy that right now I don't understand. But just like your automobile has an engine, a gas combustion engine that gives power so that the wheels can go into motion. That's what these chariots are operating by. There's something in there that the Bible is calling a whirlwind. Now, there is, I don't know if I have this in my notes here. I don't. But, oh yeah. God said that Isaiah 5:28, whose arrows are sharp, all their bows bent, their horses' hooves shall be counted like flint, and their wheels, there it is, like a whirlwind. Their roaring shall be like a lion. I mean, who is he talking about here? He will lift up an ensign to the nations from far, and will hiss unto them from the end of the earth. Behold, they shall come with speed swiftly. Makes sense. None shall be weary nor stumble among them. None shall slumber nor sleep, neither shall the girdle of their loins be loose. Well, thank God their girdle doesn't come off. We don't want UFOs landing in our yard, aliens coming out, and all of a sudden their girdle falls off. We don't want that. But anyway, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken. This is a judgment from God. This is part of his dealing with man's sin. He's showing these things, and the Bible is telling us they're going to take over. They're going to take over. And oh, by the way, don't marry them. That's what God said in Deuteronomy 7. Don't marry them. The story here of Elisha telling his servant Eliezer, he's scared to death when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth. Behold, listen. Now, let's think of what everybody in New Jersey has been doing now for the last 2 or 3 weeks. They get up, they eat their breakfast, they go outside, they look up in the sky, and there's these chariots all over the sky. So when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. They're all over the place. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? And this is the question that everybody on the internet, including Dr. Stephen Greer, people have been sending me Stephen Greer videos, and I appreciate that. I do. So I've watched several of them. I want to know if he's saying anything different, and he's not. Stephen, you have a big division amongst the UFO people. Not the aliens, the humans. And I'm going to go a little bit longer today. This will probably end up being 2 hours. But anyway, you have this division. You have those who side with Dr. Greer on one side, those who side with like Lou Elizondo on the other. And Greer says that any of the quote-unquote bad UFOs, that supposedly, allegedly kidnap people out of their house or, steal their cows or whatever, that's the government doing that. There are parts of the government that they want a justification to start a war with these ascended beings, these great, wonderful people that Dr. Greer has known since he was in college. They saved his life. He got an infection and was dying of it because he was in college and he didn't have money to go to a doctor or a hospital, and he's laying in his room dying, and all of a sudden E.T. comes, shows up, and heals him. And so he basically has given his life over to these entities, believing that they're all good and that they have nothing but good things for the earth. And we have to stop this evil road that our world is taking towards self-destruction, because these aliens, they're not going to let us destroy this planet. I saw that movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still, both versions of it. And they both had an alien, a UFO landing on the earth. Everybody sees it. This alien coming out of it, looking like a man. Then you have Klaatu, the big giant robot. And, or was that, Klaatu? Was that the name of the guy? Or the robot? Anyway, and he tells everybody, look, I'm part of a galactic group here, and we've had a meeting, and we've decided that you humans, there's not very many planets in the universe that can sustain life, and this is one of them, and you've got all these bombs that are going to destroy your planet. We can't let that happen. So we're going to get rid of all you humans. Do you know who's behind that one? Mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. She's the one, it's her spirit that doesn't like the fact that God gave man dominion over the earth. That was manifested in the story of Ahab and Jezebel and Naboth. Naboth has dominion over a vineyard, doesn't he? It was handed down to him by his father. As of this time, Naboth doesn't have an offspring. So when Ahab says, let me have your garden, I'll give you the money for it, or I'll give you a better garden, but it's by my palace, and I'd like to make a vegetable garden out of it, garden of herbs. And Naboth said, if I wanted to, I can't sell you my vineyard. God forbid it. It's in the law. I can't do it. Ahab, I know you're king, but the law is superior over the king. Boy, think about that. Somebody say amen. I think we're a little loud on that, don't you? How about this one? There we go. So Ahab goes away crying. Jezebel says, what's the matter with you? He tells her. She says, I'll get your vineyard for you. So she set up a deal where she falsely accused two false witnesses, falsely accused Naboth of blasphemy. They set Naboth on high. They hang him. Jezebel says, now you can get your vineyard. People, and let me say this, there's a lot of wisdom in that story there. If you want to understand why our country gets involved in wars all over the world, usually, I would say always, there's money to be made somewhere. The love of money is still the root of all evil. And Babylon is a trafficker. She and her merchants traffic everything, including the souls of men. Whew. But anyway, so that's Stephen Greer's side. He's siding with these aliens that are telling him, we can't let you destroy your planet. And they've already, this is true, they've already displayed their ability by shutting down 10 Minutemen missiles, each of them with nuclear warheads aimed at Russia. And Colonel Salas was, I don't think he was a colonel. He was a lieutenant, I think. He's down 100 feet below the ground or whatever, and he gets a call from up top saying, Lieutenant, there's a glowing orb out here. What do you want us to do about it? He said, I don't know. Call me if anything changes. Well, they call him back, and they say, now it's right over the compound here. All of a sudden, one by one, each guy who's sitting at a console monitoring these missiles, all 10 of them go completely out. And I mean, from the panel that these guys are sitting in, the console, all the way to the warhead itself, everything's gone. It doesn't work. It takes them like 6 months to put everything back together again and make it work. So Greer's telling everybody, look, they're not going to let us have a nuclear war. They're going to stop it. There was, and there's actually a video of this, and I'd like to find it again. This was part of the Disclosure Project, where there was a man, he worked in the military. He was sent to film a rocket taking off, and it was like in a test. Like it had a warhead in it, a dummy warhead, and they were going to test it. And the thing gets up so high up off the earth, and then it just explodes. But he's filming it all. And so he develops a film, sends it to the guys up above him, and he gets a call, and the guys are saying, "What are you guys messing around with that film for?" He said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Get down here and look." He goes down there. This rocket is taken off. All of a sudden, a UFO comes in, matching its speed, flies around it, shooting a ray at it 4 times, and thing exploded. That video is out there somewhere. I've seen it a couple times. Anyway, so that's Stephen Greer. Then you have Lou Elizondo. And I'm just using these two men as examples. Then he represents the people who say, we don't know what these things are. We have to assume that they can wage war against us. We don't know what to do. So we need to prepare for the situation where we get invaded. We can fight back because he's in the military. Greer thinks everybody that thinks like that's psychotic. They're crazy-headed. Elizondo says you can go wad your legs up and go into a trance all you want to and talk to these things, but I'm not buying it. So anyway, you got a big division there between the UFO quote-unquote experts and what they're here for. Meanwhile, God's telling us, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. People, our angels are poised and ready. Don't fear. Now, I can tell you that. I can tell myself that. But I do fear from time to time. Greer practices Merkaba mysticism. The word Merkaba means chariot. So, some parts of Kabbalah even pray or meditate on the Ophanim, which are the wheels that drove the Merkaba. There's a little side branch of Kabbalah teaching that you meditate on the wheels. And that's what Greer does with his CE5 groups. They meditate on these saucers, on these UFOs, on these chariots, on these wheels. And they show up in various forms. So, when Greer had a lecture discussing his various ET contacts, human-initiated contact, revealing that his team asked the ETs to make the symbol for C-SETI, which is something search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Later, this crop circle appeared in a field in England. Greer claimed that these 3 points make up part of a star tetrahedron. Put 2 of them together, you get a Merkaba, which is part of the very advanced technique I teach and have been teaching for a long time. 2 of them together makes this. Imagine that. There are countless, I mean countless, videos of 3 stars in the sky coming together to make a perfect triangle. A lot of these chariot or these drone videos, that's what people have seen. Triangles. Merkaba, the Hebrew word translated as chariot 44 times in the King James, but not all occurrences of the word chariot is from the word Merkaba. In most cases, it is recheb. But anyway, this article, Merkaba, also spelled Merkaba, is the divine light vehicle allegedly used by ascended masters to contact with and reach those in tune with the higher realms. Talking about the angelic realm. Mer means light. Ka means spirit. Ba means body. So Merkaba means spirit body surrounded by counter-rotating fields of light. Rotating. What do wheels do? And when you have two wheels and they're spinning in a different direction, that's hard to do. Like spirals of energy, as in DNA, which transports spirit body from one dimension to another. Man. In modern esoteric teachings, it is taught that the Merkaba is an interdimensional vehicle consisting of two equally sized, interlocked tetrahedra of light with a common center. Get back to, that right there. That's what he's talking about. This point symmetric form is called a stella octangula, or stellated octahedron, which can also be obtained by extending the faces of a regular octahedron into blah, blah, blah. In his books, researcher Drunvalo Melchizedek, I wonder where he got that name from, describes this figure as a star tetrahedron since it can be viewed as a three-dimensional Star of David. That's a by imagining two superimposed star tetrahedrons as counter-rotating along with specific prana. Prana is, I think it's Sanskrit for a life force. I think that's what it is. Breathing techniques, certain eye movements, and mudras. Mudras are the way they hold their fingers like they're, rolling boogers on their fingertips or something like that. It is taught that one can activate a non-visible saucer-shaped energy field around the human body that is anchored at the base of the spine. Looky there. Now, isn't it something that for 1,000 years, people who practice Hinduism have been doing this technique to get in touch with a god or an avatar. Avatar is like a go-between between humans and gods. And now, all of a sudden, this is how we contact ETs. We don't use radio. We don't use a subspace frequency like Commander Uhura on Star Trek. If they were to remake Star Trek the way it's really supposed to be, when they wanted to get in contact with the Klingons, they would all have to go and meditate. Depending on the height of the person doing the exercise, this field is about 55 feet across. Once activated, this saucer-shaped field is capable of carrying one's consciousness directly to higher dimensions. He's talking about out-of-body experiences, which is a lie. Nobody's spirit leaves their body until you're dead. To be absent from the body is to be present from the Lord. You say, well, how do these people get all this knowledge? Like they've been to some place. The whole network of spirits can trick the mind into believing that. Let's see here. Let's see. I don't know if I want to get into that. As people's minds progress through the different levels of heaven during Merkaba mysticism meditation, different levels. India knows all about different levels. Because you could be born and from absolutely no fault of your own, you could be counted as someone who's not even worthy to live. Okay? That's different levels. It's basically just a form of genocide, racism. Light-skinned Indians looking at darker-skinned Indians and telling them that they're untouchable, that they need to go live in a slum because they're not worthy to be wealthy. They're not worthy to go to school. The rich, organized crime bosses in India. Yeah, there's organized crime everywhere. They'll steal these children and either traffic them or they'll take them to some temple to have them sacrifice so that the gods can give favor to the organized crime guy. That was told to us here in our church a couple years ago. Brother Sam Kodavatikani told us that. But anyway, when they do this, they encounter Ophanim angels, wheel angels. That's what I've been saying. That these wheels themselves are alive, who test them on their spiritual knowledge and reveal more holy mysteries to them after they pass a test and continue on their way. Their goal is to leave their personal egos behind and move closer to God's will for them. Ophanim angels help people grow closer to God by helping them open their minds to discovering and fulfilling God's purposes for their lives. If you want to read about that, there's the link right there. Just be careful. Ophanim angels may send signs or messages to people through extrasensory perception. Remember what Goldie Hawn said when she was a dancer back in the days, like when she was on, what was that comedy show? Anyway, back in those days, she got real tired. She had a friend. The guy said, go sleep in my car. You'd be all alone out there. She goes out there and she sees a UFO. And when she sees the UFO, all of a sudden she gets a feeling in herself. And she describes it as like being touched by God. She felt in her inner being this sense of love and kindness and joy. She's getting this from this UFO. One documentary, it's a series, I think it's on Netflix. The first episode, this guy down in Texas, he knows all about airplanes. He had a company and that flew planes and stuff like that. All of a sudden, this UFO comes over him and he says, I get this feeling of delight and joy and love like I've never felt before. And it was like God's love on me. People, this is why our religion is written down for us. And we have to trust what is written. We can't go by our feelings. Please, whatever you do, don't trust your feelings on anything. The devil can make you feel something. Just please don't do it. Ophanim angels may send signs or messages to people through extrasensory perception, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairalience, clear smelling. I don't know what that is. Clairgustance, clear tasting. But they can make you feel these things and experience them. Watch out for churches that try to market an experience, because that's how they catch people. People will go to these churches, have nothing to do with the Word of God, but they've given them an experience and they say, oh, I got to go back to that church. Wow, I've been I've been to Mike Hoggard's church, and, you know, he's a good preacher, but, man, we just experience so much more. I mean, I've dealt with that all the years I've been pastor here. People say, "Oh, Mike, we like the way you preach," but I don't know, we like the music over there. People don't trust your feelings. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in what? Chariots. Because they are many. And in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. Woe to them that do that. And so you know what? To all the people in this country or any other country that has taken this ET vehicle, trying to reverse engineer it so that they can have, number one, a superior vehicle, a superior flying machine, superior weapons. The whole purpose of the Defense Department of the United States of America is to have everything in its arsenal better than what anybody else has. And yes, people, some do trust in chariots. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. Let's say Egypt is these cosmic forces, these Ophanim, these Merkabahs. And they go down to them for help. And they say, give us help. There is a rumor that it was either Truman or Eisenhower actually met with a group of ETs at a military base, an air base. And that a treaty was made that allowed the United States of America access to alien technology. And it also allowed ET access to cattle and humans. Now, I haven't quite figured out the cattle thing, but it is biblical. And supposedly that treaty's still in effect. I don't know. That was a rumor. Do I have any evidence for it? No. But I've got some Bible verses that tell me that it is absolutely within the possibility of actually happening. Woe to them that go down to Egypt and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. Horsemen are the pilots, the drivers. Psalm 20, some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. That's two witnesses right there. That's telling us, don't trust these. Don't fall for that. I wish our country, I wish these deep black projects were never held. Never. I wish we would have never gotten involved in the UFO business. But I have absolutely no doubt that we have that parts of our nation's government are involved in chariot building, using technology from these vehicles. Some of them were crashed. Some of them, Bob Lazar said this, the one he worked on was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It didn't crash. It wouldn't burn up. He wasn't dealing with pieces of things. He was dealing with an entire disc-shaped flying object. And they were trying to back engineer it to try to find out how it worked. And it has something to do with gravity. And his idea was that they make a gravity, they create gravity, which we don't know how to do that. But they create gravity. Now get this. They can create a gravity well in any direction they want. Up, down, sideways, crooked ways, slant ways. And when they do, the vehicle naturally falls toward that gravitational field, is pulled toward it. So if they point the gravity maker up and leave it there, then this vehicle falls up. Now, I think the key to that being gravity-based is that gravity causes things to fall. Think about it. Daniel chapter 11, at that time of the end shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind with chariots and with horsemen and with many ships. Look at that. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion. Is this event related to blowing the trumpets? Revelation 8. The first trumpet, second trumpet, third trumpet, fourth trumpet. Revelation 9, fifth trumpet, and sixth trumpet. Revelation 11. And in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, then the mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. Blow the trumpet in Zion, sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh. It is nigh at hand, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There hath not been ever the like. We're not talking about Russia. We're not talking about China. Neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them. This is 1 Peter stuff. Go read 1 Peter about the fiery trial, which is to try us, people. I can't tell you what's going to happen next, but I guarantee you it's going to take mankind one more step up that Masonic staircase, one more step up toward the top level where all mankind now becomes illuminated. You know what Masons have as one of their mottos? They believe in the brotherhood of all mankind. Now, if all men are to be brothers, that means they must have the same car? No, not same car. Same clothes? No, not same clothes. Same father. Same father. And that's coming. Nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run, like the noise of chariots. On the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. That's Revelation chapter 9. Last verse here. Deuteronomy 20. When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies. Who are our enemies? Lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. In 2 Chronicles, I think, chapter 20. Yeah. Here we have children of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir. 1, 2, 3. And Jehoshaphat knew they couldn't beat him. So that what he was left with was calling upon the name of the Lord. O our God, wilt thou not judge them? For we have no might against this great company that cometh against us. Neither know we what to do, but our eyes are upon thee. And you know, I have a theory. You remember what I was telling you a while ago about the triangles? The UFOs that come in like 3 UFOs, they'll show up and they'll make a triangle. Perfect triangle. I think that number 3 is the meaning of the number 3 is related to that. Lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. We're getting what we deserve. Cruel authority ruling over us. And so when Jehoshaphat and everybody in Judah fell upon their faces before God, God heard them and said, the battle is not yours, but God's. Right here, for the battle is not yours, but God's. And think about it. Our enemies, lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. Who fought that battle for us? Jesus Christ. Where? When he was numbered with the transgressors. 3. When he died on the cross, destroying our enemies. He killed more of his enemies in his death than he did in his life. Man, I love this. And so, that's what it means. When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots, and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them, for the Lord thy God is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be, when ye are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, O Israel, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint. Here it is again. Fear not, and do not tremble. Neither be ye terrified because of them. For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. Folks, That's it. That's the answer to everything that we see going on. After all that's happened so far, do you still believe that the real enemy that we're going to have to fight are the Chinese or the Russians or, God forbid, the Canadians? Do you still believe that we're going to fight a battle against flesh and blood? It's not going to happen. It's going to be us and our God against principalities, against powers, against, I can't believe I forgot this. Principalities, powers, rulers of the darkness and spiritual wickedness in high places. I've quoted that verse 1,000,000 times. Anyway, folks, do you love the Lord? I love the